Hello guys, this is Doronsmovies and you're watching the 9th episode of the Lore Q&A. Today I'll be answering some of your questions you guys left in the previous video. If you'd like to get your questions answered, make sure you either put them on the Q&A lore videos, and it is best if you put them on the newest ones, and also you can send your questions over YouTube personal messages. And the other way of doing it is to send me a question over Facebook or Twitter, as you have links in the description below. Okay, so let's start. LP Cosmin1 asks, could Arthas be buried in that creepy forest place? Well, to be honest, I highly doubt that. No one knows what that really is. A lot of people thought it was an old god chained under Tirisfal, but Blizzard said it isn't. Also, no one really knows where the body of Arthas is, as it was never officially stated. And yeah, I kind of feel I've been answering the same question for the past 9 videos. I mean, every time it's like a Tirisfal question thing, and just would like to say for the future that no one really knows what sleeps under Tirisfal and that it will be announced soon. Next on. The Brothers in WoW asks, do you really think that MoP sucks? I mean, in the lore perspective, MoP Introduction was the most consistent expansion in terms of questing. They were pandas with normal life and nothing about the wars, and less with about the problems of being consumed by the dark. Looking through that is really a need to make Pandaria more dark. I'm a lore player and I don't understand why so many dislikes in MoP. Well, honestly, I myself liked MoP in many ways. Ever since Warcraft 3, I liked Chen Storestout and the other pandas. I heard the rumor that Blizzard had a panda in the game in Ratchet, but then due to China complaining, they had to remove him out of the game and then replace him with an orc, as that is just a rumor that I've heard. And Blizzard officially stated on BlizzCon 2009 that they couldn't use pandas much to the Chinese laws and panda harm, which I honestly believe is complete BS. And now they announced Mists of Pandaria. Everyone complained how Blizzard is, copying Kung Fu Panda and how the game is going to be so bad, as pandas, are for kids, and people couldn't believe they would just add them in the game, even though they were in the game since Warcraft 3. As I said, I really liked MoP for a lot of new features they added, such as the pet battle system, the dungeon journal, the new way of raiding, and also the infamous LFR. I know pretty much everyone hates LFR, but I really didn't have too much issues with it, as I was in an RP guild and I could rarely get into a raid, so this was a great way for me to experience all of the content, as I don't have that much time to play World of Warcraft, just for fun. And also the things I didn't like in Mist of Pandaria were the dailies, and the constant grind. And I mean, they had some serious amount of dailies which were pretty boring after a certain amount of time, especially the Klexi ones. And I didn't really like how they focused too much on the Chinese art style in the expansion. A lot of people say how Mist of Pandaria failed and is the worst expansion ever, but my opinion, it did pretty well, especially compared to Cataclysm. But this is just my opinion though. My favorite expansion ever was Wrath of the Lich King, and not just for the gameplay, but mostly because I love the story of Arthas, but I also like the Burning Crusade a lot as well, but I mean, story-wise, there was some damn epic moments in Wrath of the Lich King. Alright, the next question is by Grey Fox, and he asks, I really enjoyed Mists of Pandaria, but to admit it has quite a different feel and look to the rest of the Warcraft universe. Are you looking forward to the more traditional story and setting behind Warlords of Draenor, especially with so many classic characters making a return? Well, yeah, I guess you're right. I mean, they actually wanted to try something new with expansion and not just put out a regular expected World of Warcraft expansion pack. You have an expansion and then the world main boss, like the main bad guy that you have to defeat, and then the expansion is finished. So it was kind of a bit of a different feel, even though it had a main bad guy. And I honestly wasn't a huge fan of the whole Chinese/Asian theme. I don't have anything against it. I actually have a lot of references and such for my level design study, but I was never really into Asian culture. And yeah, I'm actually really excited about Warlords of Draenor, and I feel that it will be the best expansion as of yet, mostly for me because we will get to see Draenor, what it was like, and learn more about the orcs, and also I can't wait to see the new garrisons and meet all of the famous Orc and Draenei characters. Okay, continuing on, Anders asks, why is the Scarlet Crusade hostile towards the Alliance? I mean, aren't they all about taking back Lordaeron for the humans? I know that some parts of the Crusade is infiltrated by Dreadlords, but that still doesn't explain why they are not at least neutral towards the Alliance. Well, that is because the Scarlet Crusade are complete extremists and psychopaths. Even the Alliance warned their members to stay away from them, because they're mad. They would even kill all of their own members because they thought they were plagued by the undead. I mean, they would go as far as killing random travelers assuming they were corrupted. So yeah, you can learn more about this on my Scarlet Crusade lore lessons, and I think it explains it in more detail. Alright, next on, the Mageaholic asks, when do you think the Blood Elves will have a spotlight spotlight for an expansion. After Burning Crusade, nothing really happened. There was a bit of them in the Thunder King patch, but nothing much. Well, yeah, you're right, they never really had anything major after the Burning Crusade. They were always kind of there together with the Horde, but I mean, nothing really major happened for them. They had a bit of a more important appearance in the Isle of Thunder questline and the Siege of Orgrimmar, but aside from that, not much. I mean, I don't think there will be more in future about them, definitely not much in Warlords of Draenor, but really I can't say as I don't know which direction Blizzard will go. I mean, after Cataclysm ended, you could barely assume what the next expansion would be, as you know, they don't just follow a certain plot that would connect, you know, one plot to another plot, but they start just whole new things like finding the Mistcover Island of Pandaria, and before that the massive dragon destroyed the world, and then after that we are going back to an alternate universe of a whole new world. So yeah, who knows what we will see after Warlords of Draenor, but I assume that they will definitely have a spotlight at one time in the future. I don't know really. So yeah, who knows, we'll just have to wait and see. Next on, Nir asks, do the old gods have a leader, or one we know is stronger than the others? Well, the old gods are kind of very strange creatures. They don't even originate from Azeroth, as they were seen in other worlds, you know, such as Outland, aka Draenor. So yeah, no one really knows what they even got to do in Azeroth, and who even controls them, or if anyone even controls them. Honestly, the entire old god slash titan thing in the Warcraft universe was never actually clear, and Blizzard always kind of revealed, you know, little bits and pieces so we can connect it all together, and I feel the main reason that Blizzard is keeping it all pretty much unknown, as they are using the unannounced part as a tool for a future expansion, as you know, they can always come up with something really cool that would connect with a known plotline and work it out in the next expansion. So yeah, as far as I know, they don't really have a leader, and I don't think we can arrange them by strength, as I believe they are pretty equal. Alright, next, Joey asks, how do you think the community will handle the number squish? Well, yeah, the famous item squish. Well, honestly, I was kind of skeptical about it at the start, but from what I heard after BlizzCon, I think it will be pretty great. The devs said that the players who played the beta at BlizzCon didn't even notice the item squish until they checked their health, so I think it should work out well, as they really went out of line after Wrath of the Lich King. You know, health in Classic was around 5 to 6k, and then at Burning Crusade around 11 to 12k, and in Wrath of the Lich King around 40k, and then all of a sudden in Cataclysm over 200k, and in MoP over 600k, so I'm glad that they will finally fix those differences. I don't think it will be a huge problem for the community, as it is a good thing that should work out for all in the long run. Okay, continuing on, Flying Ape 108 asks, what race was responsible for the corruption of Sargeras? If he is so powerful, how was he corrupted? And how does a warlock get their powers, and how did warlocks originate for non-orc races? Well, Sargeras was actually in charge of fighting against the demons and was on the front lines, and he was very successful at it, but time after time he became depressed by the actions of the demons and he fell in despair, and after a certain time he couldn't see anything positive but just destruction in the future, thus he went mad. Also, first warlocks ever were the Eredar warlocks. Now they are usually either former arcanists or shamans. The orcs started practicing warlock magics due to their corruption, and even the humans started secretly meeting in Stormwind bars and practicing it themselves. I mean, many leaders didn't like it, but they can see it as a good thing if wielded in a good and a responsible way. Alright, next on, Artis144 asks, at the Red Gate both Bolvar and Sarfang were burned by the dragon's flame, but only Bolvar has scars. Also, they both died, so they were both raised by Artis, and only Sarfang is a Death Knight. Can you explain? Well, I feel that Artis knew Bolvar from before, and he didn't really care about Sarfang. He just killed him and then used him as a peon, while he couldn't simply turn Bolvar over as his will was too strong. As actually there was an image in Ulduar where we could see Artis torturing Bolvar and trying to break his spirit. Also, the flame thing is a bit weird. My theory is, if you watch the cinematic, there is a little bit of a hole just before the gate. Now that is where Artis was standing, and in that place the Sarfang died, so he definitely had some shelter from the flames, while the dragons just sprayed in the middle of the battlefield where Bolvar fell when he called the retreat. I'm not completely sure about this, but that's just my theory. Next, the Nerdmeister asks, do you think gnomes ever will man up and take back Gnomeregan? And will it become a big mechanical city, or will it stay a dungeon forever? And even if it stays a dungeon, the level should be set up. Gnomeregan, big city, low level SOO raid. I think they at least should do something special with it. Well, I think I talked about that before, but yeah, they've been trying to retake the city forever now, and they did make some progress, but it wasn't anything big. I'm guessing by the siege of Orgrimmar, you mean that there should be a huge siege on it like it was on Orgrimmar, and I think it would be a great idea, maybe even for just a patch, you know, a minor patch, as then the Horde might be able to help the Alliance and, you know, kind of pay off for their help. But who knows what would happen, but I honestly doubt that anything will be happening about it soon. We might just see some progress on it in a further expansion. Okay, next on, Street Fun asks, who are the Ethereals? Alright, so Ethereals are kind of like the goblins of the outer space, like they don't really care much for loyalty as long as it gets them profit. They travel all over the twisting nether in order to collect and trade arcane items and artifacts. They used to live on a distant planet called Karesh, but the planet got destroyed and the surviving mortal race is now known as the Ethereals. So yeah, they actually bound themselves with enchanted stripes of cloth to provide their souls with enough structure to survive. So that is pretty much the backstory of the Ethereals. And the last question is by BlueGad8, and he asks, are orcs really evil? Throughout the lore of the orcs, there have been many plot holes containing the true motives and the cause of the orcs. So what do you think? Well, I would say that the orcs by nature are very power hungry, being thus making them very easy to manipulate. They have a strong sense of honor and loyalty, and they follow their master even though most of their masters just led them to destruction. I don't really think they are just that evil, just pretty much naive, although not all of them, like as Duratan saw through it all. So yeah, I wouldn't say they are exactly evil, even though they might just appear so due to their corruption, but more like gullible and not taking the time to think things through, but take action immediately. So yeah, that is all I have for now. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave your questions either by YouTube messages, Q&A comment section, or Facebook and Twitter. And don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Again, thanks for watching and see you next time.